Do you ever feel stuck, like you are living your life on autopilot? Are you ready to shift into high gear and reach the success you so richly deserve? Welcome to the Play Big Movement podcast. I am your host, Sharon Lecter, entrepreneur, business strategist, and best-selling author. Playing big is not about settling for good enough or being comfortable. It is about reaching your highest potential and achieving your greatest success. Join me in my Play Big movement as I interview top experts in business, money, and entrepreneurship, all ready to serve you and to help you play big, be number one in your field, live your legacy, and create maximum impact. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this segment of the Play Big Movement podcast. I am Sharon Lecter, your host, and I'm excited to introduce you to somebody I've known for a couple of years, and what a powerhouse she is. And we have a lot of similarities in her background, and that she's a CPA and decided she wanted to help people. And so I'm really delighted that Sandy Height is here with us. Thanks, Sandy, for giving us a little of your time today.
Well, Sharon, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm excited. I think it's, people always say all CPAs are not created equal. And I think that's a very true statement. So I think it's fun. And when I invite all my guests here, I like to start with a little bit about little Sandy, a little bit about how you grew up and how you got into the profession that you are.
Yes. So, and this is my second time in profession, so it's a little different, but growing up, working class family, my mom had me really young. And so her and my dad worked really hard to provide a good life for me and provide me a lot of opportunities. And even my mom, she went back to college in her late 30s to get her degree or pursue her passion of becoming a teacher. And she actually just retired this last year. So through her, I really learned and I think developed my work ethic of just persistence and grit. And it was really cool to see because she modeled that for me. So that's something that's really impacted me. But also as a kid, I was chatty, I was outgoing, I was curious. I was constantly getting in trouble at school for being too social and talking too much. So they would move me around. And then I would just make new friends wherever I went. So it wasn't, that didn't really work. But, growing up in school, we constantly got the feedback, gosh, Sandy's really smart. She doesn't apply herself. And so I didn't really love the school part of that, the classes, but I really love the social aspect of that going through. And so, I always kind of wanted to be older and I wanted to kind of be done with school and kind of doing my own thing. So in high school, I really got into fashion and I worked in retail and my goal was to be a buyer at Nordstrom. So that was, I'm going to graduate, I'm moving out on my own and that's what I'm going to do. So I did. So I got out of high school. In order, back at that time, I had to quit my job or quit college because Nordstrom only hired full time. So I did that. 3 months in, I said, oh gosh, I need to go to college. This is not going to be what I want to do long term. But I worked full time, went to at Nordstrom full time, went to school full time. And I'm really grateful for the experience because that's one of the things that really shaped how I approach client service today and kind of how it's impacted every job that I've had, which has really been really good. So when I first went into accounting, I chose it as a major because it was stable and I wanted stability and I knew I'd always have a job. And so that was what I decided to major in. And because I always want to be the best at what I am, I knew I had to go Big Four. Like that was my goal. So I got recruited. My first job was at Deloitte in the audit department because they said, you're social, you're going to love audit. And so, I had a start group of 32 people and I started an audit and I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Because, you're just sent out. It was the high tech boom. I was sent out to these big companies. I had no idea what they were doing. And it was not great for my self-esteem. Nobody wanted us around. We were bugging them. And so 6 of us had they had a rotation. We could do a tax rotation. So I decided to do that. And of the 6 of us that did the rotation, 5 of us switched. And that was a game changer. So I love tax. I love learning and I love the planning from early on, like the planning and how to save people money. And that always, the clients liked that part of it. And so that was really good. And I love just being around a lot of smart people in public accounting. I think a lot of some of the smartest people and my best friend today is a partner at Deloitte. I met so many great people during that time. But as always, from the beginning, always trying to figure out what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? And so after about 4 years, I was getting antsy and it's just like, this doesn't feel right. So I decided hey, maybe if I work for a firm with clients that are more interesting to me, then I'll like it. So I went to, I looked at Moss Adams, did a lot of apparel clients. And so I got a job over there. And ultimately I did like it more, but after 9 years, I worked myself up to senior tax manager, and something was just off. I was really good at what I did, but I just didn't enjoy it. And so a pivotal time came when I had my daughter. I had a film photographer come to our house and do lifestyle photography. She shot in film, and the experience was amazing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to be a photographer. And so so of course, for a few years, I just learned. I became obsessed. That's just kind of my personality. I want to learn as much as I can. And so I still worked full time. I went back to work after I had her, and I started learning photography. And then after I had my son a few years later, I decided to go all in, which was right before the crash of 2008, which luckily I knew a lot of accountants and they all wanted photography. So I did that for 8 years, and I made every mistake in the book. As a CPA, you know what you should be doing, but you're worried about bringing revenue in, and you're worried about all these other things, and the things that are sexier, like marketing and all these other things, but you really need to focus on your cash flow and bookkeeping and all of that. So doing that, I learned so much that I could never have learned just staying in public accounting. I learned what it was like to be a business owner, and all the ups and downs that comes from that. And was always trying to figure out what was next. And so, although I loved photography, I did it for 8 years. I got really burnt out, and it was always trying to figure out what is next. And an old partner that I used to work with, actually 6 people I used to work with, started their own firm back when I left for photography. And they would call me every few years to recruit me back. And finally, one day, he called me out of the blue and said, Sandy, what are you doing? Are you ready to come back? And in my gut, I'm like, I don't know, maybe. So he came down the next day, took me to coffee, and, talked me into coming back. And so initially I went back part-time, and they helped pay for me to get my license back active at my CPA. And going back the second time, I really enjoyed it. And because I had a unique background, I got to help out with marketing and content. I arranged the headshots for all of the firm, and I got to deal with the creative clients and really involved in mentoring the young people in the firm, which almost everybody was younger. I think we had 50 people. I was the second oldest. And it was so great. And then one of the big things is I was always heavily involved in recruiting. So that was my plan. I was going to go back. I was going to be a partner, and I was going to be a guinea pig for the women in the firm. And, that was the goal. And then a couple years in, I got a call from one of my recruiters that said, hey, Sandy, I know you're not looking for a job, but there's this really great opportunity. Someone that's leaving a big private equity firm. He's starting his family office. We've been interviewing financial accounting folks, and he wants somebody that knows tax. And so I think it might be a good fit for you. And I was, again, just trusting my gut. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know. And I was very honest. I said, look, I don't have a resume. I'm going to Puerto Vallarta in a few days. Haven't looked at my LinkedIn profile. If he's interested, I'll go through all the steps. So long story short, when he interviewed me, he said, look, Sandy, you come work for me for 2 years. You're going to be way more valuable than if you just stay in tax. And he was right. So I started with a computer on the floor, 50 banker's boxes, organizing all of his stuff, with his financial statements. But during those 2 years, I learned so much. We had private equity businesses. I learned investments. I learned all different types of real estate, all the tax planning related to that, how to kind of gather a team and together. And I loved that aspect of it, but I did not love the job. And I was commuting 2 to 3 hours a day. So, and that was that gave me a lot of time to reflect on what I want to do. And so it was during those many hours on my commute that I was just trying to figure out what's next, what's the next step. And so I knew I really wanted to work for myself. I really wanted to go back into accounting, but really bringing together all the great tax planning I know to the small business market, other female entrepreneurs, business owners, and hire some of those women that I knew that they weren't going to last at my previous firm. And so that was kind of how everything got started. And so that was back in 2017. I gave 6-month notice to the family office, and then slowly started doing some 1099 work and started from scratch. So, and now here we are today. We have 9 people. I've hired a few of those previous workers, and I get to do exactly what I set out to. So anyways,
I love it. And the name of our company is Modern CPAs. And I think for everybody watching and listening, I think this journey that Sandy's just taken you on shows that she's an action taker. And I think she actually also embodies my philosophy of why not, right? Well, we were similar in the fact that I started an audit with a big firm and then went to tax, because in tax you get appreciated because you're helping people save money. So there is that. But it also helped define her passion and her love for helping people and seeing demonstrative results from the advice and the guidance that she provides. And I know from working with you for the last year or so, you have, you just blossom when you're working with a client and you're seeing the opportunity to save them money and get them on the right path. And both of us have seen what happens to companies who don't do appropriate tax strategy and tax planning. And so I just want to applaud you and recognize you look way too young to have done all that you've done. But I love the fact that you've made the decisions along the way. You've taken the bull by the horn. And, one of my other philosophies is you have to close one door for other doors to open. So you made those hard choices because you knew there was more out there for you. And you continue to make those choices now as you continue to expand your firm. You're within the last year, you've added wealth services, wealth advisory services. So I just love the fact that you're seeing yourself as an overall advisor to businesses and your niche. Talk about what your niche is from your client's perspective.
Yeah, well, it started out, my background was tax. So we started out that I wanted to go deeper rather than wider with my clients. I wanted to do tax planning and services. And so that's kind of how I started. And then what it morphed into was, to do great tax planning and strategy, you need to have good books and records. And so by bringing that in house, that helped us also, help our clients provide that holistic service and get to know them more touch points. And we're not relying on somebody else for that data. So we could have everything there. So now it's kind of morphed into what's worked really well. We bring on new clients, and most of our clients they're service-based, but and professional services, and they range from, we have a lot of construction, we have attorneys, we have a large number of plastic surgeons because of a practice manager that I've connected with, and medical practices, but kind of everything across the board. So they come in, we do a tax strategy, we kind of build the foundation. And for a lot of these guys, it's just giving them the education, because people could talk planning, but it's all about the implementation and how to execute it, substantiate it, all of that. And nobody's really taken the time to help do that. So I really love that. One of our very first meetings we go over with the clients, like an hour and a half, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How come nobody ever told me this? So basically we kind of bring them in, we get them on a good path, and then everybody's kind of on an annual engagement. So, and we only work with business owners, and right now we have about 90 clients. And we kind of do all or nothing on an annual engagement. We do their tax planning, for their business and individual. All of our clients are closely held. We just deal single owners. And so we do their business, everything for them, all their accounting, advisory, all that good stuff. And one of the things what's happening is me working with the family office is realizing, we needed work with their team, and we've always worked with their business attorneys or their mortgage lenders. We really are kind of helping to organize all that information for them. But for a long time, I can give great tax advice, but didn't know how that fit in their overall plan. And so really looking for financial advisors that could help fit in that need. And so I couldn't find them. There's very few of them that are out there. And so one of the things that I did a few years ago, and I actually started these classes many years ago when I started my business, but I really wanted to learning financial planning just so I could be a better CPA. That was kind of the initial thoughts. And so kind of what that's morphed into, because a lot of my clients, they read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, they're believe with Sharon's thoughts about diversifying about multiple asset classes, not just paper. So a lot of them don't have a traditional financial advisor. And so it's being able to fill in that gap so that we can look at, okay, how does this tax strategy actually fit into your overall plan? And also, if we do this now, what is the long-term impact of that? And so that's basically the problem that I've been able to solve. And we're just actually rolling this out this year with a handful of clients. And it's enabled us to really kind of transform the relationships we have with our clients and provide a ton more value. And it's been really great. And a lot of time, a lot of our business owners are also real estate investors. We have a deep niche in that, and just how we put that all together has been really great. And so, and I think a lot of our clients, it's just the mindset. Our best clients, they call us. We have communications built in. That's the number one pain point when people work with a CPA. There's either no planning and I can't get my CPA on the phone. So we build in time. So if, we respond within 24 hours, we're available for them. So it's really giving them that high touch service. And it's awesome. And I feel very fortunate. There's so much opportunity right now in our space. And I'm lucky that I get to just only work with awesome clients. So we only work with awesome clients.
About all the folks watching and listening, normally I do these podcasts on an evergreen basis, but right now we've just had the big, beautiful bill pass. And so it's exceptionally important for business owners and people to understand the tax implications and the opportunities. So I had asked you to think about that and give us a few top things people need to understand, and they need to be talking to their tax advisors or find a way for them to contact you to get more information and find out implications. So tell us a little bit about the highlights of the big, beautiful.
And I'm going to focus on the tax stuff for business owners. Those are the things that are going to have a great positive impact on my clients. So the one big, beautiful, oh my gosh, it is a big, beautiful bill act. It is, and everybody's calling it the BBB or whatever it looks like. But I think one of the major provisions, and for people to understand, they passed major tax legislation back in 2018 with TCJA, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And essentially one of the major things with this new bill, it's making a lot of those business-friendly tax incentives permanent. So it's locking in the tax rates, making them simpler, and the highest tax rate at 37%, depreciation, enhanced deductions, 100% bonus depreciations back. And an expanded Section 179. So we really work with clients to figure out, when to take 100%. Sometimes it's better planning depending on the tax years to kind of, spread this out. So we kind of look at what that looks like. But one big thing is also, it's always been for us as entity structuring. That has a major impact. This qualified business income deduction for having a pass-through entity, and you get a 20% deduction. That's been made permanent, and then some higher limits. Also the state and local deduction, you get a higher deduction, but also the pass-through entity tax deduction. So I'm in California where we have very high state taxes. This is a huge great planning opportunity for our clients. And so we do a lot of structuring that to make sure that we can maximize those benefits. The other thing is research and experimentation expenses. That had expired a couple years ago. And I had a client that it was just catastrophic because they had to capitalize all of these expenses. And so now those are now back to being able to, there's tax credits back in effect, and then you can deduct those expenses. And it's also, the rules have broadened. So things like, bakers that are testing new recipes for gluten-free, or, distilleries, like wineries, all these other things. It's been really expanded. So there's a ton of opportunity there. And one timely thing that actually this is something that's going away, is just the energy efficient improvements. So people putting in solar and other improvements to their house, that actually expires at the end of this year. So I just recommend, if anybody has any things that they're planning on doing, to get that done by the end of the year, so that you can maximize those, because those are actually going away. And then just on the estate planning side, the estate planning exemption has been very high for the many years, at 13.9 million this year, and it was set to go back to 7. Now the higher rates have been made permanent, so it's a great tool for estate planning purposes. We don't have to worry about that as much. So those are kind of like the top highlights. We are actually we're looking at this and digesting it to all of our clients, but we're also going to be doing a town hall for our clients. We're actually going to be rolling out for the first time, to kind of touch on just, there's so much in the bill, and kind of touch on everything that's kind of in it. And then of course we'll be working with our clients one-on-one to figure out how it impacts them. So
you also have a white paper on your website related to mistakes business owners make, or opportunities business
yes.
owners. What is it that you have that people can access, and how they can find it?
Yes, it's a guide called The 10 Things Most Successful Business Owners Do, and which I put this together just through my own experience of what I'm doing differently now that I'm building this business, as opposed to what I was doing before. But then also just learning from so many other successful business owners, my own clients, and about its mindsets, it's things that they do a little bit differently, and thinking strategically, taking time to think strategically about the business, investing in coaching, and, and surrounding themselves with power of association, as Sharon loves to say, just different things like that. So it's a free guide. It's on our website, Modern CPAs, and you can just go at the top, you can click on it for a free download, no spam or anything, but it'll give you that. It's a great guide. And at the end, there's a self-assessment that you can kind of take a little quiz and assess yourself to see if are you doing what you need to do, or do you need a little assistance?
And what was that website again, Sandy?
It's moderncpas.com.
Plural. moderncpas.com.
Yes.
So make sure you check that out. 10 things that successful business owners do. Make sure you check all 10 in your own business. And know that Sandy's going to hang out with us and do another segment for the private Facebook group, the Play Big Movement. So if you're not a member of that, please join it and access that. And make sure you rewind and listen to all these things you talked about, particularly about the bill, those things that you need to take to your own tax advisor to make sure you're taking maximum advantage of the opportunities that the government is providing you. So, Sandy, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you, and I really value our friendship.
Thank you, Sharon.
And for all of you watching and listening, thank you so much. Share this with the folks that you know and they could benefit from it as well. And let us hear from you. And as far as you always know, you are fabulous. I appreciate you so much. And until next time, thank you for being here for this segment of the Play Big Movement podcast. Love you all. Thank you for listening to this segment of the Play Big Movement podcast. Please subscribe to iTunes and leave us a review, as well as join us in other areas of social media, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Sharon Lechter, and for Facebook, author Sharon Lechter. Thank you so much and have a fabulous day.